Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Dora, the Fluid Crafter, and we are working in our altered book. I know I said I would be back when I was finished, but I'm not finished yet. For the last day or two, I wasn't feeling very well, not sick, and that means, but just not feeling very well. Really tired, and my back was aching, and I had a headache. So I only did a little bit in here, but I got a couple of messages from my followers asking if I could do maybe a couple of journal with me type videos where I still kind of show different ways to do backgrounds and things like that in the book. And okay, absolutely, I can do that. So let's just do that. We'll do a couple of pages off camera. I'll do a few more by myself so that you can do, a few of your own pages. And then we'll come back and do a couple of more. And then this way, we're not doing all the pages on camera. Trying to keep the videos a little shorter this go around, so that way it's easier, to follow. Maybe I'll do a couple that are sped up, or something along those lines. Tell me what you think in the comments. If you'd like to see each page, we can do that. If you'd like to see maybe a couple that are just sped up and that you can see and follow through without me yapping my jaws, that's okay too. And then we'll just go from there. How about that? All right, so I have, as you know, we did our first couple of pages here. And so then I did these two here with the flowers. And then here I did some butterflies collaging with the life piece up there. Here, let me bring that up a little bit so you can see. Love the watercolors in these. And then I did these here this morning. Like I said, I hadn't gotten very far. And these are just a mixture of birds and butterflies and things like that. Love these pieces. So I did want to include these in here also. And then on this side is just tying it in with a couple more butterflies and some dark roses. So as you can see, we're going a little darker as we go. Like the color scheme is getting a little bit darker, and so I wanted to follow that. One tip of advice I wanted to give you before we begin is when you're doing your pages, make sure that the way you're doing them flows the way that you're pushing them down. So if you're doing it that way or if you're doing it this way. Okay, and the reason for that is because in between here where you ripped out those pages, do you see how the book sits right here on the edge of that line? Because there's still pages in there. And so when you turn it, it's a little flusher because it's going that way. So the book intentionally wants to go that way at the beginning, and at the end, as you can see, it wants to go that way. So you got to kind of manipulate it a little bit, but always put your pages, your paper at the edge of the wording, okay, or even a little bit past if you want some of that book page in the background, which is also good. You can just do like a little collage in the middle, keep some of that background in there. That's also fine as well. So I think I'm actually going to do that on the next couple of pages so that way you guys can see. And again, it's also important that you give this time to sit and dry before you keep flipping pages. Reason being is because like this morning when I came in after yesterday, this whole section here was popped up, and that's probably because I was flipping and doing things before I actually allowed it to dry. So be sure you allow these edges here enough time to dry before you flip through and do a whole bunch of pages. You might have to go back and check those edges right there, make sure that they're laying down flat. If you do go all the way over, make sure you go all the way over so that way your paper can bend with the page. If it's just on that little lip, it's going to start coming up, okay? Kind of like this one here. See how it's just on that lip? I got a little too far on the edge. That's what I mean. So, okay, anyways, so this one here, we're going to show you, go all the way to the edge. We're going to leave some of the book background. We're going to put a little different collagings in there, maybe some tea stain paper, some music paper, and we'll do it that way so we can, you know, give a little bit of a different interest. And let's begin. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to put my little weight there so I know where my page is. Set my book up on the side here. I'll bring out my bigger pages I got for my gluing. And I have some pages already ripped out here that I would like to use. And one of them is of the cardinal on this page. I just love how that looks, and these are just some little itty bits that came off of it. And then this here wording with the gold and the grunge is the top piece of that paper. Okay, so let me grab my German music book here from the 1800s, very fragile, 1876 actually. And as you can see, I love using it. See all the pages that are gone already? I will be repurposing the cover and making a little small journal out of this. And I do have to be delicate because the whole thing will come apart if I'm not. Okay, so we got that. Stick that back over there, and let's grab a piece of the tea stained paper, and I want this one here. It's a little darker. It's got some good elements on there. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of peek at my page and just kind of see where I want to lay out. Do I want the words on the background, or do I want this on the background? So I think for this one I'm going to do maybe the tea stained paper, maybe a little bit of music, and then have like this section in the middle with words, and then decorate the corners and see how that turns out. Okay, and so the way to do that is I'm just going to fold a corner, because this would be like the corner of the page in the book. Okay, now our pages are not this big, so I don't want to fold it all the way down. I just want to give it a little fold. Doesn't have to be even. You don't want it to be even. Okay, and then when I rip it, I know about where I want it to rip. And like I said, you don't want it to be perfect. You want it to be offset for the way that it's going to look on the corner. It's going to give it like that ripped edge on the corner look. And then we're going to do the bottom corner the same way. Okay, and there's two. We'll put that to the side. We'll bring our book out. Make sure I'm in frame here. I'll sit that over there. And so when we put these up here, and I am going to ink them up like so, I'll be able to tell. This one here I want to make just a little bit smaller. So we're going to just take a little off that edge here. Like so. And I'm going to go all the way down into the crease here so that the paper bends with the book. Okay, that looks good there, and that one looks good there. And then here we have this open piece in the middle. Okay, and so then what I'll take is some of my little music notes and add on to the corners here, or maybe some of my pieces that I've cut out. Okay, so let's do this first. So I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to grab out my Distress ink. And it's not the easiest to dye or bring the ink around tea stain paper, coffee dyed paper, but with a little practice, it does get easier. I put my fingers right to that edge, and I follow that edge, and my fingers just kind of give it a little more sturdiness to rub that brush around it without tearing it up. And so when you put it on there, it looks like it's been burnt or charred. So let's get a little more ink. Let me get that fuzz off of there. There we go. And then I'll show you again. So I put my fingers right on the edge, and I just follow it around. Now the dyed papers do take a little bit longer to ink up than the cardstock. Cardstock's a lot thicker, but it's not impossible to do. And and it's like this too. If you do happen to rip it, go with it. Sometimes those little rips in the papers, like how you just rip it and paste it down to give it that ripped look. If you happen to just accidentally rip it when you're inking it, hey, it's okay too. Just adds character. And then that's how I just do my inking on mine. Now you guys can do, oh, I need to get a new, oh no, well, good thing that's going to be covered up. I need to get a new, bear with me here. I didn't realize that my dabber was needing a new top on it. I don't have a new one, but I do have one that I was using for the vintage photo. So and I don't use vintage photo often, so I'm just going to use that one and take this one off because this one is fraying so bad. And I did not realize that. Oh, now I got ink all over my fingers. Sorry guys, bear with me here. Okay, new topper. Baby wipe. Let's wipe some of this off of my fingers so I'm not transferring it everywhere. Okay, wipe some of this off the disc. That was so horrible. Okay. I'll clean the rest of that off just as soon as I can get this down. Okay. It's not like my fingers aren't inked up all the time anyway. Okay, so now that that's done, let's do this bottom one first, okay? And so that's my ink side. And I'm going to grab out my handy dandy glue stick. Glue stick is easier on the backs of thin papers because then they don't warp up and things as with like really wet glue. And so now I'm just going to put this down in the center here. If I can get it down in there. There we go. Okay, give me just a moment here. It's not cooperating. There we go, there we go. There we go, it was sticking to my fingers. All right, so now I'm going to pull the book up to make sure it's flat. And I'm just going to press it down. And then on the inside, I just grab my bone folder and I use the bevel side, the rounded side, and I just go in and push it down to make sure that it is secured down all the way in that spine area. And this way, when your book folds, the paper folds with it and not on the edges. So that's always an option as well. Okay, so now this piece, let's go ahead and get this piece down. I'm just going to fold that in half and reuse it. I got crud on that one. Okay, let's wipe that off. Okay, so let's do this top piece here. And I do iron my papers after I stain them, tea stain them, but you know, they still don't, not always flat. And when you tea or coffee stain paper, it shrinks it and warps it anyways. So don't worry too much about the what am I trying to say, the wrinkles in it or anything. I'll show you a little trick here. So you can see I'm not sure if you can see those wrinkles. Let me bring it up a little closer to you. If you can see those little wrinkles in there, I like them, and I just press them down best I can, but they still stay there, but they're getting glued down anyways. So it's not like it's sticking up. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be popping up off the page or anything like that. The edges I do smooth down real nicely. Need to put a little more glue right here. There we go. There we go. And then, like I said, just press down those wrinkles or bubbles that you might have in there. Sometimes tea stain and coffee stain paper can give you some bubbles because of the way that it is. And so now we have this this page that is starting to look like it's been ripped off, right? Okay, so now I'm going to keep my space, put my book like that, and then I'm going to get my metal ruler because this does not like to rip with my rip ruler. This is the music sheet. I do keep every tiny piece of it. And so we've got one music line there. Including the words, because they are in German, so I do find them very unique. Okay, and then we've got two there. And then I'm going to take these words off the bottom. Put that over there. Let me get it. There we go. Put that over there. Okay, and then now we got two little sets of words. I'm not saying we're going to use them all, but we do have options now. So let's see. So maybe about there, and then maybe have some wording under it. I think that might look good. Or we could do maybe something like, there's a little wording there. That actually looks nice too. I do want to kind of tie in the pages, so let's try both. I know you're thinking, what? Get out of here, not both. And yes, I'm not using my rip ruler because I want it to flow. And then I'm just going to put this about half, so that would be about right there. So I can use one on the top and one on the bottom. And then we're just going to do this one here. Where's the, there it is. About there. Okay. So I was thinking maybe up there like that. And have some, oops, have some music coming off of this side like this. Just a little collage, you know. I think that would look rather nice. Okay, so let's try this now with our I'm going to try it on this first and see what happens. Okay. I actually think it's the ink pad, which is odd. It's a new ink pad. It shouldn't be fraying like that. So weird. Okay. Anyways, let's get these inked up. And when I do the really delicate pages, put a lot of ink and then I just dab the edges. I don't brush them. Okay, so the words go that way. Let's fold that in half again. Got two small pieces. I'm going to put this up here like so. There we go. Like that. And then this one here. We're going to put right next to it. I think that looks good. What do you guys think? You think that looks good? I think it looks good. Okay, so now on the bottom, because I don't have any more words, but I do want to tie it in, this does have some faint words down here. And so we're going to use those, and we're just going to kind of do the same thing, but because of this edge here, let me get in frame, this edge here, I don't want to go over into that because I want this to lay flat, and so I'm going to do it here and then maybe up like this or even like this. A little bit different, you know, kind of give the peel to be a little bit different. So we are going to ink these edges. Okay. And we are going to glue these. Whoops, not that one first. Let's do this one first. We're going to put that right about there. Okay. And then we are going to put this one right like this. Like so. I think that looks great. So just a little bit of a different page. You can always come back and let me get some of this off of here. You can always come back and decorate the middle, or you can go ahead and decorate the middle. This here is a side pocket here. So I'm thinking maybe what I'll do with this page later on is maybe do a flip out or something. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this one like this because I like it like that. So Moving on to this side, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go right into this edge here because you can see how this one pops up more. So I'll show you how that folds right in there once we get the paper down. And so let me move this up here like so. And I do want to use the wording and the little gold here. Let me get my handy dandy rip ruler. And you guys can find these on Amazon. I found mine on Amazon. They're by We Are Memory Keepers. I love them so much. They would work probably a lot better if my table was completely flat. But they do work. They work phenomenally. So, I mean, you know, it's absolutely wonderful. I love them so much. Best invention ever, I have to say. The best invention. I do not know who came up with the idea first, but whoever did, thank you so much. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I definitely want to use these two pieces and possibly that cardinal. So let's see how this would work, because this would be a focal point, you know. And let me shove him down in that corner because that's where he'll go. Perfect. He'll fit perfectly right there. And if I did a bottom flat piece and a top flat piece, look at that. Everything, it just all fits on there perfectly. Look at that. That's going to be gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I might actually put this one under him so that he's, yeah, that looks better. That looks so much better. How about underneath for both? Oh yes, put him on top. Okay, let's do that. And now for this one, I am only going to ink the top and the edges. This one, the bottom and the edges, and then him, just the two sides. So I'm going to go ahead and ink him first. Let me put my cap back on my glue before it all dries out. Oh, no, just the sides. Ha! Almost lost my train of thought there for a moment. Okay, this is the bottom piece. And it goes this way, so it's the bottom and sides. And as I said before, just a light ink, just to kind of bring out the areas where it's ripped, and so sides and top. Okay, yeah, the word's up right. Okay, wonderful. Let's set that right over there. I'm going to fold this up. Sit to the side because we can use that for some smaller pieces. Okay, so let's bring our book back out here. And we are going to do the bottom piece first. And so let's do this one here. Sure I got it up right. And so I'm going to just line it up and then push it over into the spine. Put the book flat. And if you're doing this and you notice that your ink is smearing a little bit on the bottom where you're pushing it, don't worry about that, because if you're going to ink around the edges anyway, it's all fine. It's all fine. Just gives it that more rustic look. So now you can see when the page bends, it bends with it. So then you don't have to worry about anything coming up. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure why that's not sticking to the tea-stained paper, but let's just put some more glue. Actually, let's use this little one here. That one will probably fit down there better. There we go. Sometimes that tea stain is tricky. It's almost like trying to glue to washi. Okay. Okay, so there's that piece. And now we need to do the top piece. We'll do that on this side. My kitty has come in to join me this morning. Okay. Same thing, I'm going to line it up on the end and then push it into the spine. Like so. I'm going to flatten it out. Just like this. And again, you can see that the pages flow over through. Okay, and now the guy in the middle. And again, I'm going to fold this over and save it because this piece is a bigger piece. I try not to waste any more than I have to. Okay, wow, he barely fits on there, doesn't he? Okay. And I do make sure that I go around the edges especially a few times just to make sure that they stick down really nice. And again, we're just going to line it up on the edge here. Lay it flat and push it down in the crease. And, oh no, that's good. Yep, I think enough went over. That's good. And so there you have another page, little collage page, except this one flows over into the side here. Whereas these are on the edges. So just a different type of a focal point or a different type of layering, depending on what you're going to be doing with your pages. So if you like this look better, where it almost looks, you know, like it's a full page all the way through, you're more than welcome to do that as well. All right, so now let's see where we at on time. All right, guys, looky, there's 2 more pages. We are already at 30 minutes. So I am going to end here with these 2 pages. I'm going to let them dry really, really well, keep my book closed. I'll come back a little bit later and do a couple of Journal With Me speed throughs, and we'll get some more of these pages done. All right, guys, don't forget, subscribe, like, and comment below. Let me know what you think of these videos and what you would like to see more of. All right, have a great day. Stay crafty. Bye-bye now.